Yes, if you search for an AI agent tutorial on YouTube, everyone will be confusing with heavy frameworks like LangChain, LlamaIndex, etc. But honestly, you don't need all of these stuff to learn and understand how AI agent works. So if you see my screen here, I just ran one simple Python script, and I have given one argument saying like target company Stripe and an offer. So before that, I'll explain what exactly I built. So the agent which I built takes the company name and what's my offer, and it takes these two things in and it searches into the internet about this company and everything, latest news and everything, and it will write me and draft email something like this. If you see, it has created this draft email just by taking the company name and my offer, so that once this email is ready, we can directly send this email to the specific company. Okay, before we open this code and everything, let's look at this diagram once. So this is basically the exact architecture pattern behind almost every advanced AI agent on this earth. So this is basically called the React loop. So React here, in the sense, React stands for reason plus act. So whenever we give the user prompt, for example, in our case, it's company name plus offer. If you see our user prompt, it is the company name, nothing but the Stripe, and our offer is payment fraud consulting. So this will be our user prompt here, and we will be providing this user prompt to the LLM. Here we can take any LLM, it may be GPT or Gemini or whichever you would proceed to go with. So once we provide that user prompt to the LLM, so it performs three actions. So one is thought, that means what exactly our LLM is thinking. One is action, which tool to call, and third one is a pause, like stop talking. That's what it means. So tools here is nothing but the Python functions. So we are giving LLM like an hands or nothing but the tools, the Python functions, to get more leverage, and instead of searching it in the whole old history, it will use our Python tools and get the accurate data. So this loop will be keep on going until we get the final answer. If you don't understand this clearly, don't worry, we will get back to the code and there you will get clear idea what exactly I mean. Okay, now if you see, coming back to the code here, first thing is very straightforward. We will import all the imports here. Everything is straightforward. If you see, these are all the system imports, and URL lib is usually to hit the website and get the data. And the other thing is dot load dot env is basically to get the or load the environment variables. So before that, the environment variables which we need is, one is Gemini API key. You can get it freely in this website. Other is Gina API key. So the Gina API key, the specialty of this is, instead of we going to the website and scrapping all the data using beautiful soup and everything, we use this Gina website. What this does, it will by default scrap all the data for us, so we will be saving a lot of time here. Then we will be giving the path where exactly we need to store the draft emails once the LLM has generated the output. On the model here, I am using the Gemini 2.5 Flash. You can go with any good model if you have the proper API keys and everything. And max news characters. I'll come back to this later when this is exactly used. And next step is we will be initializing the Gemini client. So we are lazy loading this Gemini client, so that every time this model is being used in the loop, we don't need to import the API key every time. This is just a best practice. And here we initialize all the configuration of this Gemini. The key thing here is, one is system prompt. We'll be providing the system prompt for this configuration. Other is temperature. Temperature is nothing but the model randomness. For example, if you just take an example, 2 plus 2, the answer is 4. When we pass the 2 plus 2 to the Gemini model with temperature 0, it will directly give 4. Then when we pass this temperature to maybe higher value, like nearest to the 1, it has more leverage, and it will be more creative and give more creative answers. So we should make sure we should set this value according to our use case. So as mentioned, first one is the imports. This is done. Now coming back, the next step is tools. So as I mentioned, tools are nothing but like we are giving our hands to the LLM model. So there in this case I am using two tools. One is to search the company news using this Gemini API key. The other is the writing the email in the draft. The other one is saving this draft email in our file. So first I'll just open this search company news. So one important thing here is we need to make sure we provide these doc strings properly, because LLM will go through this and it will understand what exactly needs this function is. So this code is very straightforward. I called this URL, and for the usually the input here is company name. So which company, for example, Perplexity AI or Stripe or whatever company name we provide. In our case, we are providing it here as Stripe. If you see, we are providing here as Stripe here, and it will take the Stripe company name, and we will just add a simple query, Stripe recent news update. So we'll be giving this text as input for this Gemini API, and it returns the some response here. I'll just show that response here also. So if you see, the main reason why we are using max news character is we are not sure how lengthy the output will be or the response of this Gina will be. So keeping the tokens limit and everything in the mind, and the cost limit everything in the mind, I am setting some character limit. So only the 12,000 characters will be extracted from that response. If it is beyond that, we are gonna cut it. So this is our first tool, just searching the company news. And the other tool is save ghost written draft. So once LLM has completed its job, it will give us the file name and the content which needs to be saved in our email. I mean, what exactly this is. So it will provide us the subject, all this email and the file name. We will be just saving that into the specific file name. This is like very straightforward, taking the content and storing it in the file. So these are the two tools which we will be using and providing to a LLM, and we are just creating a dictionary of list of tools or dictionary of tools. This is the second part called tools. Now coming back to the third part, this is the system prompt, and this is again most important of this whole picture here. If you see in the prompt, first thing is we are giving some basic instructions to the system prompt or LLM, what exactly its objective. If you can just go through it, given a target company name and the user service offer, just do some research and write an email draft. This is not the most important thing. This is what the most important thing is. If you see, as I discussed in the earlier block diagram, first thing what LLM needs to be done is thought. Here it should provide the or let us know the exact step-by-step reasoning about what exactly it is doing. So once it completed the thought, it should provide us the action. In the action, it should exactly say in the same format, that is tool name colon argument. Argument here is nothing but the what input params are you passing to this tool name or the function, and then pause. The reason why we are putting pause here is once I put the pause, let our Python code come into the action. So the next step is the rules. In the rules, we provided the tool name here, but we need to say the LLM which tools are actually available. So here we mentioned it clearly. These are the two available tools, and first one is the search company names. This takes the company name as input. We have also given the example. And the second one is email save ghost written draft. So what it takes the only the text format. If you just come back to here, it just takes the file name and the content. But what we are asking to LLM, we are asking to LLM to provide it in this format, so that we can use our basic Python function and can separate the file name and the content. The reason why we are doing like this is we are not sure which name to use for the specific prompt the user provides. So we are asking the LLM itself to provide a proper file name for this output and the content. So if you provide it this way using our Python code, we can divide the Python file name and the content. We have also given the example here. This is how it needs to be. For example, for Perplexity outreach, the file name 3 dash plus the subject or the whole content here. And also we have given a simple example of how it needs to be look like. You can just go through this. And also we have given some example tool run. So this is basically one shot learning. If you are not sure about what exactly one shot learning, I'll just show you an example here. So basically in the prompt engineer, we do have like three types of learning. One is zero shot, other is one shot, and few shot. As the term says, it is very straightforward. For example, if you just ask an LLM like you are an elite B2B growth engineer, and we give a task, it will obviously AI will guesses the output. This is like one zero shot learning. We are not giving any examples, any clues or anything. We are just asking a question and expecting the answer. This is zero shot learning. In the one shot learning, we will be giving one example to the LLM. So yeah, if you see here, we will provide one example to the LLM and it will follow the pattern in that example with only one example, and it will give the expected output. In the few shot learning, we will be giving multiple example which covers the different cases or different patterns. So once we provide all this example and ask a question, LLM will be more precise and it will understand all the patterns and examples, so that it will give the most consistent answer. So in simple terms, zero shot is like no examples, one shot like will be giving only one example, few shots are like 2 to 5 or more examples. So basically most of them will prefer few shot learning because it's exactly acts according to our use case. We'll be giving our more examples of a use case, so it will exactly act as our use case. So in this case, for example, I have given only one example, as this is just an demo kind of agent. So see, this is what exactly I gave. It thought it needs, for example, I will take Perplexity AI only for example. It needs to return this way. First, it needs to think. This is what it thought. I need recent news about Perplexity AI before writing the email. Now it thought of this. Now it decided the tool. In the action, you see, first is search company news and the text is Perplexity AI. Our company name is Perplexity AI. Then it will pause. Now once it paused, our Python code comes into the action, and there some operations will be going on. I'll come back to that later. Then again LLM will be hitting back with the other prompt. Now we'll be passing the data whatever this company has returned to this LLM again. Now in the third it will say like okay, now I have enough context, I will save the finalized draft. To save this draft, we need the other tool. We, in the sense, LLM needs the other tool. That tool is nothing but the save draft, this function. So okay, it has given the action and the content here is the detailed content here. Now it will generate the output and it will just pause it here. Now this output will be taken by our Python code, and we'll be calling this tool here, and it will just store it in this format. Now we'll see in action how it exactly goes. Before that, these there are some helper functions which I'll just come back to this just a minute. I'll just directly jump into this React loop. So if you see here, user message is nothing but for example, I just take this example. Target company is Perplexity AI. Our offer is high performance GPU optimization auditing services. This is basically our default prompt here. Assume this prompt has given to this. Now I'll just take one real example and explain the loop clearly. I'll just take the same example calling target companies Stripe and our offer is payment fraud consulting. So this will be the user message here. So now what exactly happening? We will be sending this message to the LLM, and what exactly LLM is doing? First LLM we have printed this is the target company Stripe and our offer. This is the model we are using. This is the basic print statements. Now in the assistant, if you see, this is the one which I am showing you right now, assistant. In the action, the LLM has written the company search company name as a tool, and the company name is Stripe. So now what LLM is saying, we need to use this tool and the company name is Stripe. So once this is done, we will be calling this function parse action. So now I will come back to this function, what exactly it does. If you see, there are two regex patterns here. So one is we explicitly mentioned the LLM to provide it in this format so that we will know First comes the action keyword colon, next comes the tool name, then comes the colon, then comes the company name. If LLMs returns the exact format, then we will know what exactly the function name or the tool name and what exactly the company name. So in this way we are getting the tool name and the company name or the argument. Okay, now once we got the tool name and the argument, it we will run the tool. If you see tools of name of argument, it will obviously run this function. I'll just go this function. Okay, this function, and it will run some data. This the data is nothing but, if you see, executing this search company news and argument as stripe, and this is the whole data which we are passing, and I have limited some character limit here. Just assume we have passed all this data again back to the LLM. I'll just come back to that part here. Yeah, see, we got the tool name and the tool arguments, and we will run the tool. Once we run the tool, we will get the observation. Here is nothing but, all these details basically. If you see, this is all nothing but the observation, nothing but the output of this function. We will again pass this observation to the LLM again. So now LLM will analyze all this data. Now it will say, like, it will think, okay, I have this enough data and enough context to write an email. So the next action will be saving, calling this tool, and the what exactly content it needs to be written in the same format which you mentioned, file name 3 dash place, content. Now what exactly we are doing, it will, like, the loop will again come back. It will just call this a function called parse action. If you see in the parse action, for this time, it will take the file name or the function name as a save ghost written, and the argument or the text as, or this all this text. And the next step is we need to run the tool, right? If you see, once we pass the action, we will get this tool name and the tool arguments, and we need to run the tool. I'll just go back to the tool, exactly what's happening. Now I went to this tool here. Now if the name is save ghost written, because this is true, and what it does, it will call this function, that second tool which we already discussed, this tool, and it will give this file name and this content to this function. It will automatically save this into this specific file in the proper format. Okay, once it has saved, now what exactly happens, let me just go back to the code here. Okay, it has sent here. Okay, now I'll just come back to the top again, it's a while loop. Okay, now we will be passing this observation to the LLM again, draft routed to the specific file name. Now this will be again input prompt for this LLM. Now LLM, will be thinking, okay, this email has saved into the file successfully. There is no action required, so it doesn't return any action. Obviously, when we pass the action, this will become none, and the loop will stop here, and this is the end of the agent. Now agent job is done, and it will just stop the Python function, and once it stops, you will see this file here. So this is how the basic AI agent is done. Now I just wanted to try one more example in front of you guys. I'll just clear this screen here. No, I just have this target company as Notion, and our offer is enterprise onboarding workshops. I'll just click enter here. Okay, if you see, the target company is Notion, and our offer is enterprise onboarding workshops. Let's just wait for LLM to run it successfully. Okay, if you see, the action is search company names and the Notion. It has executed, and we got the observation from the tool, and it performs all the operations which as discussed. And if you see, the email has been created. So this is as simple as it. So you don't need to learn big huge frameworks to build this kind of agent. You just need some Python understanding is more than enough, and how to use this LLMs and basic understanding of it. So you can also try it out yourself. If you want, you can just take this piece of code, and you can add one more tool. And what exactly it need to be doing is, it needs to send an email automatically to the specific email address we provide. This is one of the kind of homework which you can do for practice. And please let me know in the comment section how exactly you feel this AI agent are have you ever tried this kind of AI agent before? And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please hit a like button so that I get motivation to create more such projects. Thank you guys.